University for my lovepreneurs, taking that lovepreneurship to the next level. Now, this has been critical because we are taking our grant writing, our course to the next level. We have Coach Empress Sharifa here with us because she is one of the excellent, excellent coaches that's going to take your journey to the next level because too many people don't know how to grant right. Now, we've been talking about grants, but we found that we had to be more specific, right? Because people specifically don't realize that writing itself is its own skill set, whether it means writing for your own business, whether it means writing your own captions, whether it means writing your own grant applications. Something that you're doing involves writing, right? And in order to write, that means you then have to read. So again, everything comes back to reading comprehension and making sure that we're reading on a consistent basis. So this business launch, so that's why we also had to add the and business launch university, right? Because not everybody that grant writes is going to launch their business, but launching your business is one of the finest ways for you to improve your grant writing because too many people are not having a product or a service when they're writing these grants. And that becomes a problem, right? Because people don't know what they can do. They're waiting to proof of concept when they can really find out more so proof of work what they do today. And so we had our Empress Coach Sharifa do some of the classes, take some things to the next level, and also help develop in her business. So we're really gonna use this particular time as an example of just what it feels like when we're going through the course. What are some of the things you're learning, and just some of the pain points, right, that entrepreneurs, lovepreneurs are going through. That this course is designed to eliminate, right? Because our job is to eliminate the problems for our target audience, right? And so Coach Empress has a beautiful business that I want her to tell you all about, right? That she's developing in real time, that we are developing in real time, and that we're going to take to the next level. We're also going to help her with her offering, whether it's a product or service. So that's what she's going to be thinking about. And as it relates to digital grant writing, right, we have to make sure we focus on our structure, our order, our system, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about more. So how are you structured legally, right? How is your business formed? Are you a trust? Are you a partnership? Are you a LLC? Right? What's the order? Right? So how do you make your money? How do you make your revenue generating activities? Are you getting it through email? Are you getting it through Pinterest? We got to be more specific, right? So just knowing these two things, right? And then from there, when we're talking about the order, that leads to ultimately what you spend on it. Because too many people are spending on their business without even figuring out what their order, without figuring out the way that they're going to make money from their business, right? So we have to eliminate that particular problem because too many people need to get more tighter on their customer funnel. They need to get tighter on their customer journey. And from that, that leads to the system. And the system that we present on a daily basis is the name of this podcast, the Lovepreneurship Podcast, where we give entrepreneurs, mompreneurs, dadpreneurs the key, the sauce that they need, right, to take their future to the next level. And this sauce is ultimately a way to do business. That's what we're giving, right? A way to do business. So that's the system that you get in this grant course, right? For 997. We might lower it for this live if you stay to the end. But you just gotta see. You just gotta see. Because one thing that is really making this very, very popular for a lot of people for this grant course is the grant templates that come with it, right? So you get advanced grant templates as well as also simplified. And if those two don't work for you, you also get custom templates, right? So the custom templates have been going crazy, right? Because people love to have their little headers, their little logos, and make it more specified to their particular grant problem or their particular grant writing issue. So we got to focus there, right? Also, we're doing business plan templates too. Plan templates have been going insane because so many people want to better write their business plan. They want it to be better, clear on what they're doing, and it's just not easy. So without further ado, talk to us, Empress Coach Sharifa, about your process going through the Digital Grant Writing and Business Launch University and how you can take your business level up with care, because these are the things that we do for people on a daily basis. Talk to the people.
Okay. Okay. So, greetings, everyone. I am the Empress Sharifa, and I am a coach, a life coach, and mental health is near and dear to my heart. I'm a mental health advocate. I'm always advocating, not only for women but for men specifically, and honestly for Black women and Black men. That's my focus, because I love us, right? I love us. You know what I'm saying?
We
I'm
love
only
you too.
concerned, right? Right. And we all we got. That's phrase
And
right
that's all we
there.
need, David.
That's it. That's it. And that it's been tried and true for years and years and years, and it still reigns to this day. Um, and so for me, so far in the program, what I'm seeing is, and what I'm appreciating is that you're getting like step by step, ways on how to really evolve your business. Uh, and I like that, because sometimes people, you don't know how to start, which way to go. How do I grow my business? How do I get it to the next level, right? We start out down here, and sometimes, we pay for courses and things, and they just kind of throw you out there. I've taken many courses, right? Paid for them, and at the end of the day, when I'm done with the course, I have nothing to show for it. I don't really feel like I actually learned anything. They give you a course, they throw you in a Facebook group and be like, okay, get with your other Facebook people. They check in on you. The person who created, the person who, say if you're taking a coach course and you're following a coach, right? She throws you in this Facebook group. She'll comment on some of the comments every now and then. You know what I'm saying? But it feels so disconnected, right? And then if in order for you to talk to her or him, whatever the program, then you got to pay these thousands on dollars just to be able just get some simple just get some type of order, or make things kind of simple for you. So what I do like about this program is that you're getting step by step directions, on what you need to do. And first and foremost, you talk about what is your program? What are you going to be? Is it an LLC, S corp? Now, and those things are important when you're really when you're setting up your business. And um, I think that a lot of us, and I'm just going to speak first. Some I know we do stuff like, okay, we're coaching or we do this, but we don't have an actual business set up, right? It's not really actually set up. You know what I'm saying? There's no legal documentation of the business. We do these things, but we don't have it set up as a business. We kind of working as if it's just a hobby, right? And hobbies don't pay. I mean, you can, you know what I'm saying? Like hobbies is
Nice.
something that you do for free. You know what I'm saying? So, so far I do like the fact that you're getting step by step on ways on how to grow and expand your business, take it to the next level. And I think that's what's important. This is the new year. This is the spring. So this is the actual new year, right? We're in the year of the snake. It's about endings and beginnings. It's about new things, right? We stepping into a new. So why not add this to the new? What you want to do with your business, with your life, all of that. So I can appreciate the step by step flow of the course, and the fact that you are reachable. Okay, that you are reachable. That you don't just leave us out here, trying to figure something out. So and for me, for me, yeah, I'm at the point right now where, look, hello, kitty lover. I'm at the point right now where, like you said, we need to put together some digital products, to support my coaching business. Um, so that's like the next step for me. And more things. I haven't completed the whole course yet, but so far, in it, I'm very it's very attractive, right? It's definitely it has my interest, right? I want to continue it. I want to continue and finish it. I am, this course makes me want to. Yeah, I'm gonna finish this. Okay, I'm done with lesson one. Okay, I'm ready to go to lesson two. I'm excited about it. And sometimes courses are, not exciting for me. I need a little bit of excitement. I need some support. I need to be able to reach the person. I need support. I need a little bit of excitement, and I need something maybe tailored to me. Because, like I said, I teach children. I teach special needs children reading and reading comprehension. I teach elementary Spanish. I do a lot of teaching, and these children need their own way to learn, because children have different learning styles, and that doesn't change when you become an adult. How you learn when you were a child is going to be the same way you need to learn as an adult. And there's no cookie cutter, right, way. And what I do like about it is you have your blueprint, but it's adjustable. You can make adjustments based on the person's need, the learner's need. You can make those adjustments, make things more adaptable um, for the learner. So yeah,
Amen,
go ahead.
sister. Amen, sister. Amen, sister. And give the sister a round of applause, man, because we know it's not easy going through course, being a new baby in the way, and having to learn something new is what we are always instructed to do. So definitely give the sister a round of applause, because that is what we're asking for. Yeah, y'all can do that over there, because it's key, right? It's not easy. It's not easy to learn new things. And what you just said is exactly why we designed the course the way we did, because we did see that we need to simplify it, whether with the name, whether it with just first making sure the first module, is hitting. It already just gives you the steps. The way we do that is what we call the digital ROI reset system, right? So what we have you all think about from the first get, right, is exactly what you're spending on, right? Because the way that we get you back your ROI of 1 to 3, because to our sister's point, people go through these courses and aren't sure what they know. They aren't sure the next direction, and they aren't sure what they specifically just learned from this course that they can apply to their life. So the way we make that different, right, is we pop out auditing your spending habits, right? So even if you don't finish the rest of the 9-step framework, which is our particular system, you should already be able to look at your expenses and redistribute those expenses into a better asset or a better thing for your business. So auditing your spending habits, identifying unnecessary subscriptions, and redirecting that money towards funding your vision. That's sounds simple right there, but that's this the sauce we're giving you immediately, that anyone right now on this live, right, can implement and can find money for. Too often we're waiting for grant applications, but it's not, and we don't have an issue with getting money. We have an issue with how money works, right? We don't know how money works, and because we don't know how money works, we just spend it on anything, or don't fully value its value, right? We don't fully value its value, and we need to learn how to realize that money is in abundance, right? It's one thing that they're printing, right? And now that it's digital, it's one thing that they're digitally creating. So we have to be part of this ability to access it. There's no excuse, right? The sons of the Most High, sons and daughters of the Most High, should not be able to access this thing they call money. So we have to tap into that, not only for ourselves, but for other people. And so how we do that, right? For Off the Gate, this is what I love. The lesson 1 is how to increase your digital grant writing and business launch ROI 1 to 3 times today. That's the first lesson. And I love it what we put on there: today, not someday. That's literally the name of the lesson. Today, not someday. Because every time that you come back to this one, you need to audit your spending habits. You need to identify unnecessary subscriptions. And you need to redirect that money towards funding your vision. So lesson 2, and we're going to go through these lessons here for our sister's business. So y'all stay tuned, because we're going to show what that looks like. Because to our sister's point, everybody in a particular course gets a one-on-one strongly. We don't do anything weak. You know what I'm talking about? Everybody gets a one-on-one strongly, right? And so we should have at least 4 meetings before the end of the month. And so that's how we go hard with. So lesson 2, how to create or improve your digital grant writing business launch structure now. So when we're talking about your structure, we're talking about your legal entity, your EIN, your business bank account. We're talking about your compliance basics, right? In whatever government you're living. So this is above U.S. too. So whether right now our sisters in Kenya, Kenya has its own regulations and compliance that she also needs to check into. And if she's also talking about doing taxes back there, if she has income that she has to report, then that's also something that we would still help, because you may have to find some commonality between both governments, right? So learn how to structure affects your funding and taxes, right? So you got to learn how that structure can change the way that you're taxed, basically, right? So if you're If you're a certain entity, you get taxed differently. So it does matter, right? Because that ultimately determines how much you keep. Basically, it'll be like working for $1, and at the end of the year you only receive half of your dollars. That's one way to look at it, right? If you're not properly calculating where your taxes are going. So there's no sense in hustling a whole year for $1 only for you to keep half of your dollar, right? Again, you may not be able to keep 100% of your dollar, but at least 80%, right? 90%, you know. And if you're talking to Amazon, they pay zero taxes. A big company like Amazon is somehow able to pay $0 in income
What?
tax. Why? Because they either pass off the taxes to every single one of their customers in sale, and they write it off through their different giveaways, the different funds, the different nonprofits, and the donations. So there's ways
Mm,
to protect your money. There's ways to redistribute your money to yourself. We just have to start looking at ourselves as an important entity that requires this type of structure and focus. So, lesson three: how to create or improve your digital grant writing business launch order, right? So define your revenue generating activities. That's what I'm seeing, and we call that your RGAs. So we're always gonna in our so that's really what we're gonna pop out with. We're gonna pop out with lesson three specifically, just talking about your RGAs, right? We're really we'll do lesson one because lesson one is important. So we'll first do audit your spending, right? So start to think about those things you're spending for your business, and it may basically we'll first start with thinking about how you're spending um, things with your business, but we may have to get into your personal, right? Because ultimately you're in your personal spending, you might find also money for your business. So we'll first identify what you're spending on your business, because again, why is this important? We can't ask others to invest in us and we aren't investing in ourselves, right? It's not fair to ourselves, it's not fair to the grantors, it's not fair to your customers, it's not fair to your clients to ask others to invest in you and you haven't invested in yourself, right? That's a disconnect that we have to change, and we have to make sure that we are first doing what we need to do to make our business work rather than relying on others to patronize our business in order for it to work, right? So that's what we focus on there with the business launch order, because you got to have order, because if you don't have order, then you have disorder, right? If you don't have order, then you have disorder. And so the goal is to stay on order and stay on track, right? So define your revenue generating activities, your RGAs, build your customer journey or your donor funnel, right? How are you funneling your donors, right? Organize your offers into a predictable offer, right? So it got to be predictable. It got to be clear in the way in which that you're navigating this particular thing. Lesson four: how to create or improve your digital grant writing business launch system now, right? So you got to be able to improve your system now. So start with simple automation, right? So even just something like we're doing right now, it gets to the point where you can even start creating videos, faceless videos, where you give them the speech and they speak it out for you. You know, another thing is plan for scalability. So that's what we're planning for now as it relates to our Lovepreneurship course, our digital grant writing and business launch university course, and then leveraging AI tools to replace repetitive tasks, right? Because the key of that is if you have, for example, your emails automated and already scheduled out, that does take time off of your mental so that you can focus on elsewhere. And so that's the name of the game. Is too many entrepreneurs are being forced to work in their business as employees, and they're not actually becoming bosses of their own business, right? They're not becoming bosses of their own business. So you have to work on your business daily, right? You got to work on the way your business moves, the way your business connects with people, the way your business articulates its message, you know, the things that your business is looking for. And then you'll see through you articulating what your business does and being clear with what your business will offer people, then you'll see more people being able to receive it, because simply people can't buy what they don't know what they're getting, you know, or people won't. Better said, they don't feel comfortable, and you wouldn't, right? So we don't buy things that we don't know what we're getting. So it's not fair to people or to expect people to purchase or patronize us if we haven't made it clear what they're getting. So talk to a sister about your business, because that's what we're here for. And we're about to do our lesson, our module zero, the digital ROI reset system, because that's why I love it. It's the zero. We got to get you back to that 0 point, right? That point, that reset. Yeah. So this is
yeah.
your reset, sister, the digital ROI reset. So talk to us about, you know, because right now we're about to audit your spending habits. Talk to us about your number one bills or spending for your business, And what are some ways that you're thinking just from this conversation that you can redirect some of that money? If you don't mind us asking.
Okay, kind of like off the top of my head, because I didn't write this down or anything. Just think
Take your
about
time.
things that I have to spend. Um, like really like the basics. Like for me, um, for instance, StreamYard. Okay, that's something that I use to make my videos. I'm talking about mental health and talking about coaching. Right, StreamYard. That's something I have to pay for monthly. Right. Um, and let me see what else. Oh my gosh, what are my blah blah blah? I'm getting tongue tied. My other expenses. Um, just what's the Calendly, like Calendly,
Yeah,
to be able to those appointments, to be able to have those one-on-ones. They have a free one, but then the paid one you can do certain things that I need to be done. So I have to pay for that. Um, and I'm just off the top of my head, just starting from like the bottom, right? The
it's good.
surface of supporting my business. So I do a lot of my own marketing. I do promo videos, and I have to pay for those, like Canva. Now I'm telling everything I use, right? Canva and
We use Canva.
right. So, but these are things that have to be paid for. Even the just the basic things, just to be able to get myself out there, to get the word out what I'm doing. um it, my bills.
Yeah,
The
that's what
power.
I was gonna get into. Yeah,
I gotta have the lights on, right? Gotta be able
come
to
on.
put up
That's
my
what I start
laptop.
with.
Yeah, okay, right. So yeah, my lights, I gotta pay my overhead, right? I don't have an office, so my this is my overhead, the
Yeah, use the words.
you
Yeah,
know, like
real
those
talk.
things, the water, the electricity, to be able to maintain my laptop, just those things. My your power cords, your power supply, and especially when you have I a Apple products. Sometimes those cords get. Have you seen how they get unraveled and raggedy at the base? You got to replace that kind of stuff. My phone bill, my phone service, right? I got to be able to. I'm on here live with you on my phone, so I got to pay for Wi-Fi,
It's
right,
business. Yeah,
to be able to hear. And so just off the top, and those are, I think, some things that people probably do forget, the basic stuff, like how do I even interact with you? I got to pay for that to be able to be here on this live. So
talking that talk, man. Talking that real. Now
yeah,
you hit it on the head, and that's actually definitely what I start with is the rant one, because that's usually people's biggest bill is what we always like to bring to our customers' attention. We like to like parry our prices from what their rent is because that usually lets us know a lot about the people. But to your point right there, that's overhead, right? What's over your head, what you're looking at right now, whether the lights or the car or the or even just the phone bill, right? To talk, these things do matter. And we like to start there when it comes to auditing your spending habits because one, that's usually your biggest bill, right? And then two, we want your business to be able to take care of that bill, right? The way to look at it is like another way to look at it is whether it's a stock or whether it's a grant or whether it's a particular business. Each business is an employee, and your business should be taking care of your bills, right? Your business should be providing for your bills, is the way to look at it. So we always just start our people off with rent. From there, usually utilities, water, and things of that nature. Then come close in terms of or internet, phone, things of that nature, right? So that's usually where we keep people, at least in thinking about, because redistributing that or finding a better provider for what you're already paying for is a lot of ways to increase your ROI today and redistribute the way that you're spending the money. So I love what you were saying, whether it was StreamYard. StreamYard's a great one. Even just in addition to Canva, things of that nature. I remember seeing there's Blaze AI is a new Canva type of app that's more AI that I've been hearing more entrepreneurs are using in this day and time. So that's
yeah,
one that we can try out to improve our business because they always offer free trials. because again, how we look at that is it's just better to have more employees that you can go to create, so that because most entrepreneurs, most lovepreneurs, we had to create in a vacuum, right? We had to just put out the product. We weren't sure if it was received yet or be felt yet. We just had to kind of see in the market. But at least with a AI machine making it for you, that becomes like the test point. That becomes a barrier, someone that you can ask, right? Because the AI has its own algorithm and its own research that you're able to leverage to make sure that you're making good decisions for your business. So that's another way to look at it, like an assistant, right? Because most times we have to have an assistant. We would talk to that assistant, and it might take a little longer, or but because your AI is at your phone level, right? We have to make decisions quicker because that's the world that we're living in. We're
Right.
able to, we're able to say it again.
Yeah, I wanted to speak towards the AI thing. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's talk, and that's one big thing that we do here. We teach people how to use AI, right? Because that's part of the digital aspect of it. If you're not learning how to leverage the AI, then the AI will be used against you. So talk to us about AI, sister.
Yeah, I just want to say, what do people usually say? I didn't mean to cut your wisdom. Didn't mean to cut your wisdom, right? But I wanted to speak to the AI thing. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful people, don't be afraid of this AI thing. Initially, I was kind of like, what now? What are they coming with? What are they doing? Right? Like, oh my goodness. Not that, and I've watched, and we've watched too many movies. We've seen these robots taking over the
True.
world. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, oh my gosh, what's that? AI with Will Smith, right? I'm like, man, what are they doing now? I want to say, because I'm a sci-fi head. I love sci-fi, right? Anyway, that's all off topic. But getting back to the topic, don't be afraid, especially our new agers, and I consider new agers are like maybe 40 and up. They're new agers. They're going into their new age. They were 39, you were 45, but you're going into your new ager. So you're a new ager, right? And a lot of times we have to get used to new things, new technology. You don't want to get left behind. We want to stay in the midst of it all, right? And so that's why it's good to stay connected to people that are younger than you and people that are really, they're doing something out here, right? Don't be afraid of AI. It's amazing. It's a beautiful tool. It's just a tool. It's
It's
an
a tool.
additional tool for you to add to your toolbox of success, right? You have to stay with the times. We don't want to, but we got to go. We got to go. If they going, we got to go. I'm not getting left behind. This is
Come
just
on.
my advice to you. Just use it as a tool, just like anything else you do. Just like money is a tool, or whatever you do, your hammer and your nails, these are tools. It's just the tool. Your hammer and your nails is not going to take over your house. It's not going to take over your life, right? So, in AI is not either. I think it's a great tool to have. So just wanted to interject that while we were talking about AI, because people have been afraid, talking about, oh, this is the end of the world, blah blah blah. It's just a tool. Take advantage of it, because a lot of times um, people of other background persuasion, a lot of times they get a hold to it early. They've been using it. You're wondering how they so successful. Well, they we usually get a hold of these things last, right? We're like the last ones to learn about um, these uh, these new things, right? This AI and this new technology. We're always kind of like the last one in our community. If you're not
Facts.
up there with them, you're gonna get the information last. They already been using it. You wondering, like, these movies come out, they
Facts.
like, another movie. We do You doing another Halloween? Yeah,
Facts.
because there's no originality, right? They've been using AI to create a whole nother movie again about the same thing. You
That's
understand what I'm
true.
saying? So,
No, that's true.
don't to get with the times and get on board and get with the
That,
yes. So
no,
that's
that's
all.
so that's no, that's so true. A lot of our favorite movies, CGI, what they call CGI, right? That's AI. That's or what they call artificial intelligence. Us, we always playing with the words. They
Mhm.
say AI and they mean artificial. When we say AI, we mean advanced intelligence. You know what I'm talking about? So being an advanced intelligent being means that you use all tools at your disposal, even
Mhm.
AI, right? So we not. It's for us. It's not. It's just part of the growth. If you advance, and then you just carry on and advance, right? Because it doesn't make sense for us to not lower the cost of production, right? It doesn't make sense for us not to give ourselves an opportunity to create because so many, to your point of overhead, right? The overhead was too much for us as a business. It was hard for people to continue and sustain their business. But we're living in a new day and time where Netflix still exists and Blockbuster is done. You know, Blockbuster is
Mhm.
done, and people still want to take the time out to have a Blockbuster store. People will still, when they think business, they think that they have to have a Blockbuster storefront, but they're not paying attention. It's just
Mhm.
it's just simple as that. It doesn't matter what business you're in; it can be done virtually, right? And it probably should be. If you wise, you should have a digital product to go along with that physical product that whatever you were selling, because we've already seen that people prefer, right, to be at home. People prefer to be able to do their work. They're actually more productive. The issue is this: that as a society, we don't encourage that. We don't make people feel like they're winners for having work from home businesses per se. And then most people who are working from home, they usually are working for someone else too. So that's also the other disconnect. We're still on
Mhm.
an employee ship mentality rather than a lovepreneurship mentality, right? So that's kind of what we're talking about when we say lovepreneurship. Just to give that more breath there, when we always talk about lovepreneurship podcast, lovepreneurship, that's our system, right? So our system is lovepreneurship, and that's a mompreneur, a dadpreneur, a childpreneur, all coming together for family business. Because why? We see that most times, most entrepreneurs in many families, they don't come together. We have mom doing something over here, we have dad doing something over here, we have child doing something over here, but no three of them aren't coming together on a consistent basis and coming up with a plan. And that just happens too often. That's an issue for us, right? Because we're seeing that too many people or too many children just have to figure it out for themselves when they get of age, as opposed to being able to continue that thing that their family was doing from day one. So we just got to help our children have more mental health space, and part of that is not having to overthink the way that you make your money. So we just got to be more considerate of the children and do
Yes.
the work now for them so that it becomes easier that they have a roadmap to take them to the next level.
Mhm.
Thoughts on that, sister?
Okay. Yeah, no, I agree. I was thinking about nepotism, right? Now that's a real thing in the other community, but we don't have things set up like that. People don't. I don't know what it is. People don't want to pass the baton, to the next generation. They want to hold on to it. They want to
Mm,
hold on to it. I'm not gonna tell you how I did this. I ain't gonna tell you how I did that. No, 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 no. You know what I'm saying? And
sad, sad.
nothing wrong with nepotism. Why not? Why not? Why not get help to get to the finish line? Why not? Who said that you got to struggle the whole way when somebody can help you out?
Come
We've
on.
been we've been programmed, we've been programmed so backwards. But again, that this program is telling you one thing, right? But they're always doing something else.
Mm,
Always doing.
mm.
But yes, yeah, that's all I
No,
have to
that's
say.
that's so good. That's so good. That's so good. And so to your point, let's get into lesson two right there because
Hmm.
I love what we just talked about. Lesson one was that ROI. So one ROI way, y'all need to audit y'all spending. You also need to get into different tools, advanced intelligence tools like AI that can take you to the next level, right? And so number two, once you've come up with the way you've already reviewed the way you're doing your business, you then must relook into your structure, the structure of your business, the foundation. And one thing we're pushing our people towards is getting more trust for their business. Not only trust the word in the sense of trusting one another, but a literal trust to place their entities. So, what is a trust? A trust is a asset or something held for the beneficiary of another, right? And so, it's a place where you place your assets that is going to be used or going to be for the benefit of your beneficiaries or your trust or and your trustees are in charge of doing that for you. And so you as a grantor or a trustor are in charge of filling it up or placing money inside of it in order to take people to the next level, right? And so we have to get back to a trust mentality where we're able to compile and use our digital assets to get physical assets, right? So right now, what we're doing right now This is digital real estate. We may not be able to purchase it per se, but through views, right? Through us then leveraging the video on other platforms, right? We're able to take this clip from YouTube and improve our real estate across the internet. And so that's how we got to start looking at it more as us as an opportunity for us to gain more digital real estate in real time. And so that's going to be what takes us to the next level there. And so focusing on that, this is key part. This is key because this is gets in line with our nonprofit Navigator, virtual summit that we're having. My wife is hosting this one in particular, and she is doing this big push where we're seeing more people really need to start a nonprofit more than anything. They need to be navigated to start the nonprofit because their nonprofit is really what they're describing. They have a charitable mission, they have a charitable vision, right? And they would be more focused and they would have more reprieve or they would have lesser taxes from their government if they were clearer on their structure. So many people are moving like this. And so they need to just figure out and realize that a nonprofit is a type of business, right? A nonprofit is not, doesn't mean you can't make money, right? It just means the way in which you make money, right? So it can be confusing when they say nonprofit. It just means that profit isn't the main goal, right? Profit isn't the just making money year over year, right? Because a lot of these companies, how they get measured is, did you increase your balance sheet? Did your ROI? Did your return on investment? Did your price over earnings ratio, did it increase? And so that is one measure to look at it. But for people who haven't had access to money and who haven't always had years in business to be able to compare their last year balance sheet to this year's balance sheet, we have to look at more definitive things, right? We got to look at more of our trust within our company, within our people. We got to look at the assets that we're providing them. And we just got to figure out how this affects our funding and our taxes, right? Because the way we're structured also tells us what we can apply for. Because also there happen to be more grants available for nonprofits, more on the private level, right? So it's also about just putting yourself in a better position to be more accessible to you, to our sister's point. And so you can either begin by forming your LLC or your nonprofit or your sole proprietorship. It just depends on what type of business you're doing because each type of business has a different type of protection that is needed. And so let's talk about your particular business, sister. What would you say right now is the type of structure that you're looking to make your business, if you don't mind us asking?
Um, I'm thinking of LLC. Like I had a, but I've done that. I've had a LLC set up before, and I didn't. After I set it up, I didn't. I needed this. I needed the lovepreneurship, right? Because I needed to know, you know what I mean. I needed to know where to go next. What do I need to do now that I have it set up? But now I'm in Kenya now, so it's um it's totally different. What I need to figure out is how I can be able to work my program here, right, in Africa and in the States too.
Mm.
Um, but if I was in the States, I say LLC for sure. Now you talk about nonprofit, and so I'm like, oh man, that's something to think about too. Um, Considering that I do coaching and and dealing with women, right? I mean, I deal with men too, but dealing with like women here. I've had conversations with women. I don't mean to go off topic, but
I know you good.
when certain things you say, it sparks certain things, little thoughts that I have. And women were saying how they need help in certain areas in their lives, and so if I could even do that as a nonprofit, and I can get like more women, in one space, and be able to maybe offer certain services for them. Um, you know what I'm saying, and maybe give them some free um, things that they need. Free whatever they need to be
Essentials.
able to, yeah, to help them evolve, right? So my mind is going like 100 miles an hour right now.
I'm with you. I'm
But
with you. You're thinking
yeah,
about how you can make yours more a nonprofit, where it's and that makes sense because then that would just be us. For example, what that would look like, and this is a good
mhm,
part of what we do with our one-on-ones is what that would look like is us thinking about a local store right there that you maybe even frequent if you can,
Mm,
that's close to you. If you can, we can build a relationship. So that's kind of what we like our grant writing templates. So that's what now the templates become used for, right? So the templates would be a start or foundation for you asking for specific needs, things that you need. And so that would be a good example of, we will come up with a list of things that you believe your target audience needs. Because again, you're solving someone else's specific problem. Well, and then so you just got to think about how that also help the person that you're solving. So that company usually, they have donations or have a certain budget allotted usually already to donate, and so we just got to leverage that philanthropic necessity or requirement usually. And in Africa in general, they're more charitable in the way that they give and the way they consider about the people. So it really just becomes us being more clear with who or what we're doing it with, and they usually allow it. You just have to be clearer with who you're
right.
doing it for, and what you plan to gain out of it, because that's the main thing people always
Mm,
want to kind of know.
yeah. Okay.
So that's good. So that's good there. So we're gonna definitely focus on that one. Just thinking about, if this might be better as a nonprofit, and then we'll
Mm,
also discover what the rules are in Kenya, because too we want to make sure we're in compliant with the state that you're in, and then we also want to see if you may need to file still here in America, because even if you don't live, you might still want to file from work that was done last year. So that's some things we'll talk about too. So lesson
mhm,
three, how to create or improve your digital grant writing business launch order now. So this is my favorite part here, because it gets into the revenue generating activities, and that's what my mind has been on lately. That's why
mm,
that's why I made sure that we got our course right, because we have to make sure that we are on focus with our revenue generating activities and helping people get right to the bag. That's why we brought this particular lesson up front first, because we want, because to your point, most people don't finish courses, right? And so the first lessons that they get should be the most impactful for them, right? So we already anticipate people aren't, they say usually 10% to 33%, right? People don't usually, that's usually what they get to. And so that's okay, because that's the same thing with books. That's why with books, you should definitely put your best information in the front, right? Because most people won't get to the back, and the people that get to the back. So if you're a person that reads all the way to the back, you're a different type of person, because
right.
how you do anything is how you do everything. And so, too often in life, that is how many people are doing their business unfinished, right? They're starting
Mm,
it, but they're not
mm,
finishing it. And so, everything reflects the way that we look at life and the way that we finish courses. So, courses is just an example, a way to learn. And so, that's one thing that we're improving, the ways that we're learning. And so, defining your revenue generating activities. So, what does that look like? So, for example, one thing we're seeing is the importance of email marketing, right? Email marketing is the key. So, emails are one of the highest ways to connect with people. People see their emails every day. I like one
mm,
thing. I believe it's Coach Shishana. I think her name is Shishana. She always says, when's the last time that you saw emails shut down, right? And that's such a great point that she makes, because it's like, when we don't, right? But I believe on the 5th they're expecting TikTok to shut down again, right? Potentially, it may or may not. They may just let it, get to that point so that they get a little buzz again, and then ultimately save it, right? Because that's what they're in the habit of doing. But they also might ban it this time. Who knows, right? Because it might be a new era we're stepping into. Who knows, right? But regardless, your business shouldn't be affected based on what some other business does, right? That's no way to
right.
have your business. That's too limited, and that's already too much exposure. You should diversify your risk, right? You should be able to have different ways to get money, so that if one way is affected, you're not limited, or you don't feel like you have to now come up with a whole new strategy, right? So the two things that have been popping up into the realm is email marketing, right? Email marketing has been key. Conference trainings in particular for us, or conference trainings or workshop trainings. When we usually free leads to paid is what we see. Just
Mm,
delivering a free workshop of your services. So kind of what we're doing right now, delivering the
right.
free workshop leads to the paid, because a lot of times people do want to just see what you know, and they also want to see what you can help them with. And if you're already helping them with the free, then Sense lets you know that they'll help you even more with the paid.
Right.
So that's So that's but also at the same time we have to have enough respect to know that it pays to pay attention. So we don't want to give all the game for free. So we're not giving all the game. We just want to make sure y'all know that we know what we're talking about, and these are things that can easily be implemented no matter who you are, right? This isn't rocket science, but it's about articulation science, right? It's not rocket science, it's articulation science. You got to be able to what you need, but you may have struggle articulating it to your target audience. And that's our
Right.
job, right? Our job is to help articulate what you're trying to get across to the persons, to the people who already need what you're offering, right? Because that's what makes it sell itself. When what you offer someone else needs, then you don't gotta do so much, right? Because what I'm
Right.
telling you about is exactly, I've already done the work to realize that this is what you need. And so that's the goal of email marketing or getting our system automated, where we're always attracting the people, right? We're always able to get into the graces of people who are interested and looking, right? Because your families, friends and families, those are not your number one supporters. Not because they don't want to be, they can be, but no, just because off the strength of one day they know you a particular way, if you're probably in business already, this is probably your fourth, fifth, ninth idea, right? They really don't
Mhm.
realize how they don't realize how lovepreneurship works, right? I love again what the coach said, Coach Shoshana says, right? It's like, the issue isn't having ideas. Like, it's actually a good thing to have too many ideas. The problem starts when you run out of ideas, right? When you
Oh yeah.
don't, right? And that
Mhm.
makes more sense when you think about it like that, right? The real problem isn't choosing your ideas or what to focus on, because that'll come with over time if you stay on it, and if you are keeping asking yourself, what do I need to focus on, right? If you ask yourself what to focus on, you'll get that clarity. But the
Mhm.
real issue is some people run out of like ideas, stop, right? They stop working on their business, whether off of discouragement, whether off of not being able to know the next route, whether taking a loss, but in order to be a boss, you got to be able to take a loss. You know what I'm talking about? And
Yeah.
that's just what it is. There's no way for you to be a digital boss, a tax boss, any type of boss without making sure that you take care of your people. And so that's the key. So we're taking care of our people right here. You know what I mean? And making sure that she gets her business to the next level, because her job is to help you all level up with care, right? And she does that through her mental health advocacy. And so one thing we're going to talk about there is building your customer journey or donor funnel. So that's kind of what we talked about. Email becomes critical because through a lot of things, you can garner email. So whether it's offering a free grant list, so that's one thing that you're gonna be seeing pop out more is our free grant list. We're always going to be offering a free monthly grant list. Since it's the top of April, we're going to start off with our April list. People can get that for free. They'll sign up. They'll enter their email. Once they enter in their email, they'll now be onto our subscriber list. And so now when we send out new offerings, because again, people don't just people that patronize people, right? They don't just do it the first time. It takes at least research says it takes at least 8 to 9 impressions, right? It takes at least 8 to 9 impressions for people to feel comfortable, for people to be able to actually patronize your business. So most people don't patronize on the first look, right? They've seen you, they've seen what you're talking about. They've you they were just scrolling and your message resonated with them, right? You need those different touch points. So whether it's your so that's how to look at social media. Social media is just another touch point, but it shouldn't be your sole bread and butter, right? You
Right.
should you should be thinking about other ways for you to stretch that. So email marketing is key. One thing we're also seeing is Pinterest, right? Being able to add your pins. My wife said she goes to Pinterest for ideas, and so if she goes to that for ideas, so do other entrepreneurs and lovepreneurs. And so this might also be another area for you to gain more attraction. Another place we're seeing is Facebook. Facebook groups are big. Linking, affiliate linking, or letting people know, this is what I did. These are the three things that I learned from the Digital Grant Writing and Business Launch University. One thing I learned was, how to ROI reset. Another thing I learned is doing your legal structure. Another thing I learned was your customer funnel, right? So we would list those three things in the comments, and then we provide a link and allow people from there to make their decision, right? Or another one is call to actions. A lot of call to action and a lot of responses. Comment grants if you're interested. They would then comment grants on the actual post. Once they comment grants on the post, we would then automate or have an automatic replier for our Instagram to then message that person. So basically you can set different keywords when people say things like grants, or they say things like grant writing, or they say things like help, or they say things like digital, right? You just you give them the word, and you program the word. It'll then send back an automated message. So that's another way for you to make your post more customer friendly, and gain more traction, more energy from your post, right? Because now, with even if it doesn't get a lot of likes, because it's not about likes. Likes doesn't directly mean dollars, right?
Mm,
Views, followers doesn't directly mean dollars. So don't be fooled by none of that, right? Don't be the people who really want to know you, the businesses that want to know you, they too are struggling with likes, right? So it's not about that for them. It's about you solving their problem, right?
mhm,
Keeping it clear on the problem that you're solving for them. So for us, we're solving people's problem with grant writing, and people's problem with launching their business, right? And we didn't just say new business launch, right? You could be an old business launching again. You dig?
mhm,
And so it
mhm.
doesn't. It's not limited in the way that we organize, the way that we're thinking about this. And so we just want to help more people make sure that they're focused on the way that they're doing their business to the next level. That makes sense, sister.
Makes sense.
Excellent, excellent. And so then that leads us to lesson 4, right? That leads us to lesson 4, which is how to create or improve your digital grant writing and business launch system now. So it starts with simple automation. That's kind of what we were just talking about as it relates to automating even just your comments on Instagram. Automations can look like a lot of things. And that really does help, because a lot of times people do get a lot of comments, but they don't reply quick enough, right? And you're really missing out on people who are already interested. Comments is a strong how you say response to one or a strong impression, to what you've already done or to what you put out. And so that's what we're seeing when it comes to even email marketing. I'm just having
Mhm,
more people open that email, right? Open the click rate is much higher than paying Facebook ads, right? People are paying Facebook ads 1,000 impressions, but when they say impressions, that just means somebody scrolled by it, right? They count that as when it says sponsored and they see it and it says sponsored and they may stop there for a second and they keep going. That counts as an impression to them. So they're able to take money just from people maybe may or not scrolling. And how they justify is that, hey, we put it out in front of the person that you said was your target audience.
mhm,
They don't got to promise you sales. Isn't it interesting? The game. They don't got to promise you sales. They don't got to guarantee. They really don't got to help you. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, we're going to ask you for more. That's their game. So it makes more sense for us as a people to do this thing organically for ourselves, to figure out a way to bring our ad revenue to ourselves, and not only for ourselves, but also do more ads for other people. So whether it's us talking about leveling up with care, because we've already had different ways, different workshops for your business on here. So I also want you to look at the past workshops that we've done as business assets, as digital real estate, that you can clip from and start your leveling up with care. So, for example, that the self care checklist that we just did the last episode, right? That's a great workshop video that you can send to people as you are coming to a good point and positioning it out. And so, right there too, we have on there. So what we'll do is then we'll list then the framework. So part of systems, since we're ending on systems, right? There are many different types of systems. We just suggest whatever system you decide, make sure it's automated, right? So that means make sure that it's working for you so that you have to do less work, right? And so our particular system, that's what brings it all together. The Lovepreneurship is our particular system. That's why we called it our podcast, because basically we're encouraging more entrepreneurs to come together and work in the name of love, right? The name of the love of their household, in the name of love in the community, and the thing that they love to do on a daily basis. You got to dedicate your life to the thing that you love, the things that you love, right? And watch your life dedicate itself to you. And so these monthly modules that we're covering, number 1 is business legal compliance. Number 2, AI power grant writing and sponsorship. Number 3, financial tracking and tax strategy. Number 4, passive income and revenue expansion. Number 5, business automation and time freedom. Right. Number 6, lovepreneurship trading group and investing. This is our favorite one here, because I'm telling y'all mark our words. The trading is going to be our number one way that this university makes its money and that we teaching people to grant themselves. So make sure y'all are in tune with number 6 and that you're getting that money because it's soon going to be 8 because 8 leads to wealth, right? So number 7, love and business balance. You got to make sure you have balance within your love and your business, right? You got to take it to the next level. Health and wealth unity, right? You got to, because there's no point in success if you're not even healthy enough to enjoy it, right? Whether mental health or physical health, you got to be able to enjoy this life with your body, with your mental, with your spirit, right? And with those things aligned, that'll lead to legacy and generational wealth building. So those are our 9-step process right there, right? That we take people to through that we ultimately suggest for you. You don't have to do them all 9, but we do say it's best to do it in order because life is best ordered. We got to stop doing number 7 and we haven't done number 1 yet. Right? We got to stop doing 4 and we ain't done number 3 yet. We got to stay focused and just make it as simple as possible because life is already complicated. So it's our job to simplify life, right? So that it can become simple for us. Simple, though, does not mean easy. So just because it's simple to do does not mean it's easy to do. So I do want to state that very clearly, right? I'm giving you a clear, God is simple. He's a simple being. Do right and you good, you in heaven. Now, how do we be good, right? How do we simple like it's simple to say, but how in which we it looks, because again, that's the discernment, right? Because good to one person is bad to another, right? And so it's us to now determine what that truly means for our life. And so all this is available for a one-time investment of 997, right? So you're getting full access to all the modules, right? Module 0 for that digital ROI reset, and your 9 lovepreneurship framework modules, and this includes the course only, right? And so this one-on-one that you do get that as you start off on a monthly basis or a strongly basis. So we do check in with you. To our sister's point, that is one thing that we're going to add on there just after talking to her. And we write that on there. We offer one-on-one grant writing, business launch consultations. So we're not just going to leave you out there and without a reoccurring way to get guided. That's our main way of making sure that we're guiding you and taking through those steps. And so we're going to take it to the next level. And so I know we ended on our pricing to kind of put it all together because we're talking about leveling up with care. Do you have pricing that you have right now for that business? And what do you have currently? Your main offering, your digital product or your digital service. Do you have a price in mind for that right now?
Well, yeah, because I would like to put together maybe like a 6 week. I want to be able to put together a course for like 6 weeks. Something consistent, something that's gonna that my client is going to. It's like an invest in. I've experienced like the one-on-one coaching, and I haven't been successful with that. People, they show up. Sometimes they don't, because for me, I mean, because one of the goals is not only helping people, right, but I got to help me too, right? So I want to be able to make money, while I'm sleeping,
Facts.
right?
Facts.
And that's just for real, for real. I know we in the spirit, spiritual world, what a spiritual community, and it's like, oh, you not no, no, baby. I want to make sure I'm good too. I'm putting all my effort,
Come on,
time,
yeah. Talk that
and
talk.
giving my wisdom and knowledge, right, to you, my experience. I do want to get ROI on that, right? It's equal, right? Equal give and take. You know what I'm saying? So usually I know like maybe like 6 week courses are usually like 297. Um just for a 6 week course. Then you have like your 30-day course is usually about 200. So that I think that's something that we would need to talk more about, based on what I'm trying to do with the program. And yeah, because I don't really know for sure. I kind of know a ballpark, but I don't know for sure.
No,
So
that's good. That's good. I like the prices you said. You said 297. That's good. That's a good
mm,
range. That's usually good. I would say I like what you said. 6 weeks. That can be a month and 2 weeks. So that's another way to look at it. I like the 30 days. Sounds a little cleaner. Maybe the 30 days might be what to start off with, and then as you kind of see if you need to add more days, probably play it like that. And then what I'm going to do is send you our Beacons referral link so that you can create a product on Beacons the same way that we created a course page using Beacons. You can do that for free on Beacons. So that's a free resource, so you don't got
Okay.
to pay anything on a monthly basis to make your course either. So now if you want to add like URLs and add certain parts, that's how they try to upsell it, upcharge you. You know what I mean?
Mm,
But just how you're able to purchase it from for free, or at least not, maybe not necessarily for free for you, but it could be free for you. It was free for you because I was able to do a discount code for you. Funny enough, so that is what it still offers you to be able to do, based on where you're at. You know, so that is one thing that we're offering our people. I know normally it's 997. We do particular discounts. If you go onto my Instagram, you'll see a particular code. I can't tell y'all the code. Y'all got to do the work. Go on there. You'll see either on the chat or you'll see on our actual profile page discount code you can get that'll lower your price for this course. But whatever the price point is, just work with us. Let us know where you're at because we want more lovepreneurships really taking themselves to the next level. So we're willing to lower the price just so that you do get started, right? Because we want more people to get started and not just started but finished, right? Because a lot of
yeah.
people do get started, but not too many people finish the race, right? And the race, this is a lifestyle. That means this is for life, right?
Mm,
This isn't a moment style. We don't call it a moment style, right? We call it a lifestyle. You dig? So that means we're doing this for life. This is our business. Making our own money is what we're gonna do for life. You dig? And our children are gonna watch us do this so that they're more encouraged to do the same. And we're gonna do such a good job that our children don't have to think about what they're doing next. We're already just giving them the playbook and they're just gonna pick it right up because they were doing this playbook with us in life. You dig? That's how we'll know that they'll get it done. And so that's the recipe that we're continuing and that we're going to keep pushing and throughout life as we take things to the next level. And so I appreciate you, sister, for just taking the time, being transparent with your business, because we are going to continue to level up with care. We're going to follow up and do a more personal one-on-one with that so that we can really get at the specifics of your business. One thing that we love is I'm going to send you the self-assessment. So really with the first page that we just talked about, the digital ROI reset, that's at the bottom right now. I'm going to move that to the top. So you'll see that on your course page once we add
oh,
this particular module, the digital ROI reset system. So this is one
oh,
that we just been working on that we first wanted to kind of have this live for so that we could have a video to correspond to it. But yes, this
okay.
is yeah,
I was
so
looking
I got you. I already know. You were like, man, that ain't
scrolling,
in my
scrolling
course.
like
You ain't want to say that out here. Not no pressure. You
right.
silly man. I
I'm
already
not
know. I
playing.
already.
I was looking like I don't see
It's,
that. Okay.
it's there. We just gotta make it viewable. It might even be at the bottom. You might even just see it at the bottom. But yeah,
Oh,
we
okay.
cause we were cause to your point, like we're just saying that people might not get through model 1 and 9. Let's just make sure that if they don't even get through the system, they at the minimum are saving money. They're at the minimum already getting their return on investment through the course. Because we're
Right.
tired of courses where you're not sure what you're getting. You feel me? And so, what is grants, right? Grants is a conveyance of resources of money, right? And so, typically means someone, or usually how we think about it is someone giving you money without for free or without any type of qualifications. But usually, grants do come with qualifications. You usually have to require or qualify. So, in truth, actually, you applying was the quality, was the qualifications, right? Because not
Mm,
everybody that qualifies or that applies is even eligible. So just because you apply, that's how precise grant writing has to be. Because just because you apply doesn't mean you were even eligible. Some people don't even read well enough to know if they're eligible for the particular business, or don't even realize that they just needed to get one certificate and now they're eligible, right? Whether it is a LLC, because the LLC is a certificate, right? All you need is a little certificate, now you're eligible, right? Or you
right.
need a nonprofit, now you're eligible. And so it's just so that's grant writing, right? That's what we help with is expanding your digital presence. Whether through automated systems, AI tools to advance your intelligence, and then we put the grant writing. Ultimately, what improves your grant writing is launching it as a clear business and product. People love to invest in what already works. It's simple as that. People love to invest in what already works. So writing your grants, writing applications or your grant proposals in a way that shows people that, hey, even if you don't invest in me, I'm gonna be doing this. You did is the
Right.
best way for people to invest in you because don't nobody want to invest in somebody that need it or they're like, oh man, if you don't give it to me, we ain't never gonna do this no more. Like that don't sound like some where I
Right.
would want to put my money. You feel me? It's like, okay, well, I'll see if you make it then, dog. You know, that's how
Yeah.
people they won't say that part, but that's how they'll treat you, right? They'll say,
That's.
oh, it's just the
Mm-hmm.
reality, right?
Yeah.
One of the business coaches says, when they say I don't want to buy that, the from you is silent, right?
Mm.
When they say, I don't want to buy that, the from you is silent. They do want to buy it, especially if they're inquiring. They
Right.
just aren't sure if they want to buy it from you yet, you know? And so that is the point of your marketing to get them to that point of comfort where they do want to buy it from you, you know? Or when they think about grant writing or business launching, you become top of mind. So even if they don't go with you, the goal is to still be the person people think about when that thought comes into the mind. So when they're thinking of a mental health man, it's a mental health advocate, man, I think of Empress Sharifa, right? So that's the goal. That's the level, and why? Because she levels us up with care, right? And so part of that is we have to give people the language. So it helps us, it helps them know how to position us when we give them the language on how to position us, right? So we just got to share with them the benefit, keep telling them the benefit, keep introducing ourselves. My name is Coach Michael Afwani X, right? I have coached businesses to increase their return on investments 1 to 3 times immediately, today, not someday, right? Because too many people are waiting days to make money, right? Not realizing that the money you have today, whether you have clothes, whether you have a jewelry, whether you have a phone, you already have access to this wealth. And that it's just the way in which you're looking at it, right? You got to change the way you're looking at your wealth resources and watch once you change the way you look at that, your whole life changes. So that's our job is to coach people through increasing that return on investment because too many people are investing in courses and they don't know what they're getting because the courses hasn't made it clear, right? So we make it clear as possible. We give our game right here in real time. And so we just appreciate you all for tuning in, listening in, because it's key that you make sure your business is successful. And your business is only going to be successful with your focus. You know, it's your duty to take your business to the next level. We can't demand people to patronize us. We can't be upset that they don't. It's our duty, right, to convince them, to province them, to be able to connect with them, pronect with them, right, in a way that takes them to a next level of trust that they've never seen before, that they're able to truly gain a word just from the video, right? If you're able to just get a word from the video, they'll feel more good about the courses. And so that's where we're at with this digital push that's about to happen. It's about to go into the next level. We're about to see tariffs, right? You probably seen. I saw a headline say Wall Street is terrified, right? Because they're talking about these tariffs and things of that nature. So you're going to
Mm-hmm.
see more of those headlines tomorrow, more specifically. And so that's also going to be a push of more AI. You're also going to see more layoffs start from tomorrow. They're going to try to blame it on that. And it's going to be a new push for more businesses to start their own launch instead of waiting for the confusion, right? Instead of waiting for things to clear, you
Mm-hmm.
need to launch your business right now, right? Right now, before it becomes too late, before it becomes even a tax, before social media even becomes something you got to be charged for. So right now, it was free for us to go to live, right? It's free for us to access people. YouTube has been sending us people, right? People who could potentially be interested in what we are offering. And so there'll be a day where this will have to be paid for. They already have YouTube Premium. You dig? It's already here. You know,
Right.
so they're just waiting for the day where it'll only be YouTube Premium. You dig? And so make sure that you're already in, make sure that you're already a creator. You know, that's what it looks like. If you're already a creator making money from YouTube, then they're gonna bring you along with the premium, you dig? And that's what it looks like. That's what when you say being left behind, that's what it looks like, right? Being blocked out, being locked out of services and technologies based on us just not sharing the information, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because it's as simple as that. We get the reward. Our community gets the reward the more that we share this information. And so we as a community have to big our people up advancing, because I'm realizing not enough of our people feel comfortable with technology, and we got to change that because that is the biggest barrier from us taking our business to the next level. Talk to the people, sister, before we close out, because I appreciate you listening to that coach workshop. It probably was like a lecture on.
Yeah. Again, thank you. As usual, I'm so honored to be a part of the family.
Mhm.
And be on the team. And I just want to say that you, ladies and gentlemen, my beautiful ones, you can check me out. I have a YouTube channel. It's at MS BJ Martin. That's at Ms. BJ Martin. And you can see more of the things I talk about, the mental health things I talk about, everyday life things I talk about. And so you could just get a taste of who I am. Also, I'm on Instagram, the Empress underscore Sharifa. That's the Empress underscore Sharifa. I'm on Instagram as well. You can just see, and there, see a few things about me. I'm there as well. Um, if you want to email me, if you have any questions, you want more details about me, what I do, my programs, my services, my email is level up with care at gmail.com. That's level, Level, right? Level up with care at gmail.com. And
Amen.
like I
Amen.
remember, just like the sun, you are necessary. I love y'all.
Amen. And we love you too. We love you too. Make sure y'all check in, man. This is the Lovepreneurship Podcast, where we give nothing but love. It's talking about that digital grant writing and business launch university. You need to do what you need to do to take yourself to the next level. Do not wait. Get that grant course, that grant writing course. Make sure you become better at launching your business. Take yourself to the next level. Make sure you take care of your mental health. Level up with care, and like our sister said, you are the sun. Keep rising, keep shining. And on that note, we're going to close out. Amen. Yeah, yeah.